Caitlin Clark got left off the U.S. Olympic team roster. And I've now sat back and I've listened to both a Stephen A. Smith and a Shannon Sharp, and a lot of people who follow the WNBA far more than I do, have followed the U.S. women's national team, the Olympic teams in the past far more than I have. And I just want to offer a very quick thought here, okay? I don't care if the goal is to field the best team for the Olympics. The women are going to run away with the gold medal. It's practically a done deal. And so as an organization, you need to make a very, very concerted effort to do the best thing for the program moving forward, okay? The U.S. women's national team, the soccer team, they made a few decisions in the last World Cup cycle that people thought were a little bit iffy. Perhaps you weren't fielding the best team, or perhaps you were excluding certain people because they didn't have the same political views as some of your other players on the team. And ultimately, I think it did some damage, because when you are trying to grow your sport, and especially on the women's side of things, are trying to make the case for why you deserve to get paid as much or more than the men, you still need to have some kind of commercial appeal. And I think that the U.S. women's soccer team screwed that up in the last cycle. And I have this weird feeling that just by virtue of not including Caitlin Clark, the women's game is actively hurting their chances of making even more strides in growing the game this summer. Now, I'm not going to sit here or stand here as I am right now and tell you that there are any women on the team who are less deserving than Caitlin Clark to be on the team. I will trust that the selection committee, who I believe also included Dawn Staley, who everybody respects, probably did pick the best players to take the court. And I know that there's a chance that there could be a few injuries that could end up leading to Caitlin Clark making the team. But if you're trying to build on a moment, as Kincaid would always go, the zeitgeist, she has to be on the team, because she's the one moving ratings. She's the one that people are buying tickets in droves to sell out arenas, where they had to move one of the games from a WNBA arena to an NBA arena because they couldn't meet the ticket demand. She's the one. Angel Reese, who's a very good player in her own right, can continue to say that, like, hey, it's not just about one woman. It's about more than just one. That could be true. But there's no one else right now who's selling out arenas at the same rate that people are selling out arenas to see Caitlin Clark play. And so you have the national conversation on your side. The WNBA has the national conversation on their side. And you're about to go play in an Olympics where you could have benefited immensely from having her on the team. Because instead of it just being all eyes on the men's team, you would have had this other conversation that to some extent rises above what the men's team is doing. And I will once again compare it to the soccer side of things. The women's national team was exponentially more successful than the men's team, and that has allowed and aided in a lot of ways the women's game on the soccer side of things to grow, and for those players to benefit through sponsorship deals, and has brought a lot of eyes to the game. The WNBA had that right there, like looking right at them. And again, people go back to the Christian Laettner thing and they say, well, nobody was outraged that he didn't play, or that he wasn't playing the same amount of minutes, and that if Caitlin Clark is on the national team and she doesn't play, that people are going to be outraged. They're not wrong. People would be upset. If Caitlin Clark were to make the national team and she were only to come in as a reserve, or only got on the court for like 2 games in the Olympics, there would be people outraged. 100%. No one who says that there wouldn't be outrage is telling the truth. Okay, like it is without question that people would have been upset. But you're still missing out on the commercial success element and the ability to grow the women's game in this country by not having her on the team. So I think it was a miss. I get the idea that they think they fielded the best team, but they're missing out on a moment. And when you have a moment like this, where the women's game is actively leading shows like First Take, this is the one chance you have to capitalize on it and to do something with it. And yes, you can make the argument that in 4 years, there'll be another Olympics, and she'll be, 26 at the time, and at that point, she can make the team. Yes, but the moment will have been missed. It will have been gone. And it's possible that the game will continue to grow at an acceptable amount for the next 4 years, but you will never again have the ability to capitalize on a moment like you could have right now And it is a miss from the women's team and then the Olympic Selection Committee to not have her on that team. Spiral At's actually not wrong here, by the way. Great marketing trick. Get people pissed off and talking about it, then add her on the team later. I don't think that that's what this is. I think they genuinely, if they have their druthers, would rather see the team they selected right now have every player make it to the Olympics healthy and that there's no conversation. I don't think they want to have to be put in a position where they add her after the fact because it's going to look even worse. Because then it's going to be, all right, well, is it that she wasn't one of the best 12 or best 15, but now she, by virtue of injuries, is like one of the best 20 players? And then there are going to be people saying, hey, she's not one of the best 20 players in the country. And now are you just kind of trying to make up for it? Is it a reactionary move? Is it them caving to social pressure to have her on the team? I don't think that there is a win now. I think that they have to stick with what they've done. I think that's it. T from the TO3 asks, is the WNBA just petty that Clark is a white girl? I think that like there is a case to be made that there are some people who are not happy that it feels like so many non-white players have been overlooked, especially when it comes to sponsorship. And I think that they're probably right on shoe deals and on some bigger promotional opportunities. I do think that there's a case to be made that like there are some women in the league who definitely have the right to be upset that it feels like some of the advertisers were waiting for like the white girl to come into the league and perform. And I think at the same time, you can make a case that she's so marketable, not because she's white, but because of the way that she plays and the fact that she seems to have like the Steph Curry unlimited range. And that, yes, she is a flawed player because she turns the ball over so much, but she's also a rookie adjusting to a pro league. So I don't know. I can't tell you. I haven't had conversation with WNBA players. From the outside looking in, I just think that there's a bit of inherent jealousy or perhaps resentment that they weren't given the opportunities they believe that they were deserving of. And they might be right. I haven't had those conversations. I have no clue. I'm not an advertiser, so I couldn't tell you.